I used to think breaking into digital marketing was hard. Writing resumes, sending out DMs, applying online, attending events, reaching out. And the truth is, it was hard. But you see, now that I've broken into the industry, if I had just known these 5 principles back then breaking into this industry wouldn't have been as hard. And that's why in this video, I'm gonna share with you 5 principles that if I wish I had known back then breaking into digital marketing wouldn't have been as hard. You see, early in my career, I was lost. I had all this energy, ambition, and I wanted to do something so badly. But I had one problem. I didn't know where to begin. And honestly, this really put me in a rut. It made me sad, I became super frustrated, and I felt a little hopeless. I'd watch all these YouTube videos and hear all these stories from my friends, and they were so successful and so good at doing everything. And I remember watching that and thinking to myself, why couldn't that be me? And then one day, I just had enough. I was tired of sitting around and feeling sorry for myself, and I wanted to get out of it so badly. And so I said, screw it. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Who cares? I'm gonna literally do anything and everything and basically brute force my way into figuring out what I wanted to do. I signed up for random events. I decided to volunteer for some local entrepreneurs. I went on endless coffee chats and Zoom calls and phone calls with stranger after stranger after stranger. I was absolutely ruthless. And eventually, I started landing speaking gigs. I started landing freelance opportunities. I started landing job interviews. And I've started meeting the most interesting friends I've ever met, ever. And most importantly, by doing all these different things, I came to realize that marketing was my passion. So why am I telling you this story? It's because when I speak to first-time aspiring digital marketers, they often tell me, I feel like marketing will give me flexibility, fulfillment, and a great career growth potential. And I hear these stories all the time. And every time I talk to someone, I can see that behind those words, what they're really saying is, I feel lost. You see, back then when I was doing all these reaching out and coffee chat and all these different things that I just described, I realized what I was really doing. And what I was doing was increasing my luck surface area. You see, to get out of a rut, and oftentimes when I speak to first-time digital marketers, they feel like they're in a rut, they're confused and want some clarity. Well, the best way to get that clarity is not just doing nothing and just thinking and just sitting around, but you actually have to go out there and do things. Because here's the truth, when it comes to success, it's not just about working smart and working hard. There's luck involved. You gotta meet the right person at the right time, at the right stage of your life, and have the right conversation, which may lead to the right opportunities. But you will never meet all those criterias if you're just sitting around at home, not doing anything. And that's why by going out there and doing all these different things, you're increasing your luck surface area so that those opportunities, when those moments come up, you're right there and you're ready for them. Okay. So I want you to pay really close attention to what I'm about to say. You see these job postings everywhere every time you go online? Well, that's only about 20% of the jobs that are actually out there. In fact, 80% of the jobs aren't even posted online. So how are they filled? Well, through referral, as in someone knew someone and they submitted a resume on their behalf, like a referral. Which brings me back to principle number 2 that I wish I knew earlier. And that is, I wish I knew that most jobs are filled through referrals. Now, if you're trying to get a referral into a job, here's the exact networking blueprint I want you to follow for 2 months straight. And if you follow this for 2 months straight, you're practically guaranteed that opportunities will come your way. All right, you ready? Go on LinkedIn, open up 15 marketing managers' profiles, send them a connection request with a note. What do you say in the note? This. Now, I want you to do this 15 times a day for 2 months. About 1/3 of them will say yes to the call. When you get on the call with them, just ask really smart questions, not ask dumb, easy to Google questions. After the call, thank them and then execute on their advice. Then once you executed on their advice, show them proof. If you do that, they'll take you super seriously. Then if you feel like you get a good vibe from this person, or this person may lead you to future opportunities, then I want you to do free work for them. Make them a YouTube video, write them some social content, make a list of contacts that they should connect with based on your phone call with them. If they're trying to plan an event, write them a free event page on Eventbrite and send it to them. And that is how you network. Now, if you do this for 2 months straight, eventually people are going to reach out to you and they will say, hey, can I hire you for a project? Hey, have you talked to this person? I think you should connect with them. Hey, why don't you send me your resume and let me see what I can do for you. I remember in my first digital marketing job, my CEO was telling me a story about him hiring a marketing assistant. And it went something like this. There were 2 people applying for the job. Candidate number 1 did everything right. She researched the CEO's favorite coffee, bought it for him before the interview, and during the interview, she was like, hey, I know you love this hazelnut coffee. I actually got it for you. And on top of that, she actually wore the company's color as part of her outfit for the interview. She was doing everything right. Now there was candidate number 2. Honestly, he didn't do any of that. But what he did do was he went up to CEO and he's like, I have a YouTube channel and it has 100,000 subscribers. And can you guess who got hired? The YouTuber got hired, even though the other candidate was doing everything right. What's the moral of the story here? You see, in this capitalistic world we live in, your value in the marketplace is highly determined by the skills that you offer. Those who have in-demand skills that not a lot of people have, well, they get hired over those that don't have them. Which brings me to principle number 3 that I wish I had known when I was trying to break into digital marketing. Learn a high-income skill. Copywriting, web design, email marketing, video editing, these are the skills that are highly in demand right now. You see, when you learn a high income skill, you start landing interviews faster, you start landing more clients faster. People want your help with their projects, and overall, you can make more money than the person who doesn't have the skill. A great in-demand skill you can learn today is digital advertising, which is basically selling products and services on the internet through paid advertisements. You know when you scroll around the internet and you keep seeing the same ads everywhere you go? Well, that's digital advertising. And a lot of companies are looking to hire digital advertisers. It's a career where your starting salary would be about $55K a year, and give it a few years, you can scale your salary all the way up to more than 6 figures. And that's where Course Careers comes in. Course Careers is an online program that'll teach you the skill of digital advertising and help you get hired by companies fast. The course will show you how to run advertisements on Google and social media. Plus, they'll even walk you through step-by-step how to get a job in digital advertising. Here are 3 things that I love about Course Careers. First thing is their reviews. I mean, come on, like what can beat these reviews? Second is the practical experience. They'll give you real life projects that you can work on so you can start applying what you're learning. And third, you'll receive a certification when you finish their program so you can show to employers, hey, I actually have this skill. And they offer you a resume generator so you can optimize your resume and stand out against other applicants. They're also extremely affordable at just $500 or 4 bi-weekly payments of $150. I'll link to them below in the description of this video where you'll get access to their free introductory course. And if you do end up purchasing soon, then you'll get $50 off the purchase. Right before I became a full-time freelancer, I was working with a coach. and he's a Think and Grow Rich coach, and like he was top notch, to be honest. And I remember during a coaching call I had with him, I was feeling very anxious. I wasn't making any sales. I was really worried about my income, and I felt this huge sense of imposter syndrome to like reach out to people and convince them to buy my service. And then he turned to me and he said something so powerful that I still use to this day. He said, Alif, work harder on your mind than your business. And he was right. I knew all the strategies, the techniques, the cold DM strategy, like all the technical strategies I knew. But there was one thing that was holding me back, and it was my own mind. I had so many limiting beliefs I had to get over that was preventing me from applying those strategies. Tony Robbins has a really great quote, and it kind of goes something like this. Success is only 20% skill, and the rest is in your head. Now, why am I telling you this? Because you see, by this point of the video, you know exactly how to network your way into a job. I gave you the step-by-step, the complete strategy, but the truth is, are you actually going to do it? Are you going to be sitting around with your limiting beliefs and letting that dictate your future? Maybe you saw the whole networking bit I just did, and you probably said something like, oh, that's a lot of work. Oh, I'm too scared to reach out to people and go on calls with them. Alif, this only works for you because you're an outgoing person. I'm an introvert. If you said anything like that in your head during that bit, well, that's the problem. The problem isn't the strategy, because I showed you the exact strategy. The problem is the mind. So my friend, if you're trying to break into digital marketing, always remember what my coach told me. Work harder on your mind than your business. All right, so there was a day where I was taking a big sales call. It would have been my biggest deal yet as a freelancer. An entire $2,000 project. And during the call, it was coming near the end. And so as a closing technique I learned, I asked her, hey, client, why would you hire me? And the thinking was that she would answer why and sell herself on why she needs to hire me. And I still remember her response. It's very profound. She said, Alif, you seem very professional and serious and on top of things. And because of that, I trust you. And I know we'll have a great working relationship. And like that really opened my eyes, because the truth is she could have hired a lot of other people for 1/10 of what I was offering. Literally, like she could have gone someone so much more cheaper, so much more easily. But she still went with me because of my interpersonal skills. Which brings me to principle number 5 that I wish I knew earlier when I was trying to break into digital marketing. And that is, people skills are everything. Listen, you can have the most high in-demand skill in the world, like literally be the 1% of the entire population who has that one skill. But if you're not easy to be around, then no one will want to work with you. You see, the world runs off of relationships. Want to get referred into a job? You gotta make the person like you enough to refer you into a role. Want to land clients and make extra income? Well, you gotta be easy to work with. Want to get into a new career path? Then you gotta start networking with strangers and building rapport with them. Want to get a raise? Well, you gotta get along with your coworkers. And if you struggle with being social, I want you to know this. In high school, I was really awkward. I'd go home for lunch just to avoid being around people. And I remember walking home for lunch, and it was a straight path, and I was walking, and I look up, and there's a friend walking down the same way, right? So he's walking in front of me while I'm walking behind him, and he has no idea I'm behind him. And I remember in that moment thinking to myself, oh, for the love of God, please, please do not turn around, because if you turn around, I have to hold a conversation with him. Eventually, I was able to make it all the way home without having to talk to the guy. I was so relieved, but it's weird because the second I got home, I felt like an idiot. Like, who walks behind someone and thinks to themselves like, oh, please don't turn around. Oh my God, please don't turn around. Like, I just felt like a pathetic loser. Like I was like, what am I doing with myself? This is not the type of person that I aspire to be. And then I had it. I hated the way I was. And the next day came and I was walking down the same path, and guess what? That same person is walking down the path ahead of me. Again, he did not know I was behind him. But this time around, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. And so I impulsively, without any thinking or logic or planning, I just ran up to him. I'm like, hey. He's like, hey. And then can you guess how the conversation went? Horrible. It was the most awkwardest silent walk I've probably ever been on in my life. I did not know what to talk about or even how long to hold a conversation or what do I even do? But I didn't let that stop me. From that point on, I kept forcing myself up to people, even though I wasn't ready, even though I didn't want to. I just forced myself to talk to people. At first, I was like super awkward. But then I noticed, oh, I can hold a 10-minute conversation. Then a week later, oh, I can hold a 20-minute conversation. I can hold an hour-long conversation. Wait a minute. At this point, after like months of doing this, I realized I didn't even need to think about what to talk about. It just came out of me. And it felt so amazing because I didn't feel self-conscious anymore. I was free. And like looking back now, I realize back then by me forcing myself to talk to people even though I wasn't ready and I didn't really want to, it really helped me to get a better life. I started making lifelong friends. I got involved in so many student clubs. I landed numerous client after client after client. I started speaking at events and literally landed job offers from just my social skills alone. So if you struggle to get yourself out there, I want you to know that I believe in you and it's absolutely possible. Because if an awkward person like me can do it, then you absolutely can do it yourself. Anyways, if you found this video helpful, feel free to check out my free courses down below. And my friend, I will see you in the next video. Peace, peace, peace.